Willkommen to another Visual Wednesday. Ja, ist gut. What's going on, y'all? So, art fight. Fight of the art. Fight between artists. It's not actual fights, because it's pretty much, collaborative, making fan art for people. Um, I I didn't know what it was because I was taking it way too literally from the perspective of themes. I was like, well, do I have to design like a character that's like crystals and shit? Hey! It's Jack Charles Gaines riding with a party of three. Oh, what's up? Welcome. Visual Wednesday, baby. So as I was saying, I didn't know what art fight was. I was taking it way too literally. I was like, well, do I have to design things based on whatever the themes are? Blah, 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 blah. It's literally just Splatfest, but for art. So those of you who don't know, Splatoon might be even more confused now. It's like you pick a team, it doesn't fucking matter. It's like which of these do you just kind of like more, right? Like in Splatfest, it's like ketchup or mayonnaise. We will fight to the death over ketchup supremacy. That kind of shit, right? It's just that. It's like this year the theme is crystals versus fossils, if I recall correctly. And I like crystals, so I'm like, sure, I'll be team crystals. I married a witch, so like we ball. I love crystals, man. Me and my fucking Baphomet sweater. Yeah, buddy. Woo! It's so cozy. Anyway, yeah, it is. It is indeed Wednesday. Yeah. So Kenj, yeah, it's literally just like a lot of things on the internet post Tumblr. It is a place to put your copious OCs. So if you have like an OC that you design, or like thousands of OCs you design because you design OCs and people fucking love, like, oh, I resonate with this fucking character. This is me. I love them. I want to purchase them. Right? That kind of thing. You end up accumulating a litany of various little guys, though none have accumulated as many little guys as my man Kenj. Anyway, um, Doodle Roulette, put it in the chat. But yeah, OCs, you gotta have a place to put them. You got like Toy Box these days. You got Art Fight. You got just being on Blue Sky or Tumblr or whatever the fuck. I assume. I don't know. I don't hang out on Tumblr. I've always felt like I was on the outside looking in, and I've never really felt uh, comfortable posting there for whatever reason. I'm like, well, this is like a black hole if you're not already foot in the door. Anyway, or you could actually write. Maybe I'm a little old fashioned. Yo, you and me, baby. Yeah. So whether you write or not, um, Art Fight is a place to put your OCs, and then when you put your OCs, whatever ones you want other people to draw, people attack you, quote unquote, by doing fan art of those OCs. So it's basically like what is it? What is it almost exactly like? It's like those things in the 90s that simulated being famous for kids. It's like that, where it's like, what's it feel like to get fan art for my OC? There it is. I've gotten a couple from doing active draw this in your style contests, and I've gotten a few by virtue of like having small relatives, tiny little kids, relatives or relative in-laws and shit. But like, you know what I mean? Anyway, that's the gist of it. You pick a team that doesn't actually have a bearing on what you create, though you can if you want to. You can make a new character or use existing ones. You put it on display and you attack either members of the same team, members of the other team, stuff like that. Get points, shit like that. Like that's the long and the short of it. Place to put your OCs, an excuse to draw other people's characters, um, and yeah, there you go. So I'm curious to see what people do with. I keep thinking like I'm just like because the characters that I have been working with and making for a while now have a very specific context and purpose. They're not just like there. I haven't thought we just called them characters back in the day, right? This is my character, right? Oh, I'm making this for something. I'm making a comic. Here's my character, right? But you have to say original character now because not everybody makes their own character. Sometimes you just only draw like something from other media or other people. You're like, "Oh my god, I love this. I'm gonna draw someone else's character." It's like, and that's fine. It's fine. It's easy for people like me to be curmudgeonly. I'm a known curmudgeon, but I think and here's the thing that a lot of people might get the wrong idea about. It's only as and I've had this impressed upon me by many people who actually participate regularly. Jack draws. Hold on. I think OC started out as a way to separate fan characters from things you made all on your own, but now it's just all characters. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Like this is my when you say original character, it implies that it is yours. Moxiemoth. I mean, OC used to specifically mean a character you invented inserting into an existing story. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Oh, really? Interesting. Well, I mean, not anymore though. Right. That's really interesting. Etymology. Learn something new every day between chat and Black, but mostly chat because Black doesn't know anything. Not truly. I'm gonna start actively saying citation needed with a little asterisk if something that I'm saying is not verified because I don't want to I just talk forever and I don't want people to be misinformed. Anyway, here's my baby boy. Um he's kind of the mascot for the music that I make. Whoa, where can you find that? It is. Anyway, that's a mascot for my music. His name is Smokestack. And yeah, that's about as clean as his lines get by design. I want him to feel very dreamlike and nebulous by design. That was a really old sketch of him. Look at his little butt. He got a nice butt. Unverified personal gnosis or upg. This is keepsake. I'm gonna probably do a new design doc for each of them today, although I do really like these. Um, This is Omen, probably one of my favorite designs ever that I did. I love him. I love him so much. Moxie actually did fan art of him for a birthday of mine. I just love it so much. Um, Made me feel very special. And that's without any ding dang art fight. That's just pure love. Chat. Anyway, get this fucking text message out of here. I always forego to put the do not disturb. There we go. Perfect. All right, but yeah, that's and this is a more recent one that I made. Consensus. General consensus is this guy is creepy. So I just made that. I don't really need to make a new one, I think. Um, because I like the presentation of it. The lungs didn't end up looking as much like lungs as I think they did in the sketch. They look more like beans. And now that you've seen that they look like beans, you can call him Old Bean Lungs if you want to. Anyway, Old Bean Lungs. No. Hey, well, see, that's your prerogative. But yeah, so let's do a little bit of design work. Oh yeah, you want to see he's smoking. Do it. Wow. I did a very minimal animation. This was for the canvas for I think it's for Gone, but not Forgotten. My most recently released song, which was like 2 years ago, because I don't do like I said, it's the Blackvoot brand is infinite good ideas. Don't finish anything. It's horrible. I'm trying to get better at that. Trying. Slow going. Alright, I'm not gonna go any higher than 2K, I don't think. I want kind of a lo-fi vibe, but meh, yeah, let's do 4K. Stick to your guns, they say. I don't. Alright, let's get a nice little pleasant background so I look less ghoulish. How's y'all's day going? You were playing Date Everything, eh, Jack? That must have been interesting as somebody who is asexual. I'm glad they have so many. I wasn't expecting them to have so many like compatible options for that, considering how deep the thirst is in that game by design and in its conception. That's pretty cool. I'm honestly kind of mad at how good that game's like how high quality everything within that game is because it's so fucking silly. It's so dumb as a concept. Like they obviously knew and they were just like, dude, let's fucking go and they went so hard in the art, the character design department, the voice actors' performances. Everybody has their own theme. It's actually crazy. I maintain that all the characters of the AI that fired you could be. I don't want a fucking AI. There you go. I won't do it. Not after AI art. It's a war crime as far as I'm concerned. All right, let me see if I can release that. Like, you may be right, but yeah, I'm not going to do it. I choose to not believe that so that the characters I'm supposed to find appealing are appealing instead of me being like, you motherfucker, you motherfucking piece of shit. How dare you. Look how small my mouth can get. How fucking dare you. Whoa. Fuck AI does not mean copulate. Does not equal intercourse. Yeah. Alright. So, my little baby boy. I think between the stuff that I have, Sinclair is freaking me out though. What was that about? Creepy, very creepy, funny. You know, it's all about contrast, right? You got you feeling nice and hot and bothered. How about some existential dread? You know, a little something for everyone. Little something for everyone. This is Max. Okay, goody goody gumdrops. Hey, what's up, Arbiter Games? It's Months. Good to see you. We working on some design sheets for characters for Art Fight, and as I explained, I'm probably going to be explaining it a lot for newcomers to chat throughout the stream. Art Fight is just a nice, fun little excuse to do fan art for other people's characters, and you know, a place to put your own original characters for other people to do fan art of, vice versa. The fight part of it comes from there are two teams, kind of like Splatfest and Splatoon. Themes don't matter. You choose one that you like. You attack people from the other team. You attack people from your own team. Get points. At the end of the day, it's just a fun little wholesome activity. Like most things, a lot of people want to make it all toxic and shit. Mostly on TikTok, from what I hear. I don't touch TikTok. I tried for a minute. I hate the vibe there. It's really just gross and prepubescent as a rule. It's just I hate it. I do not like TikTok. I feel gross when I go there. Like I come away with like a metallic taste in my mouth. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So get the TikTok shit out of there. Just have some fun, but especially the art creators for some reason. Well, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's like smugness, elitism, classism. Like, there's a lot of things that could go into play for people being shitty and toxic. More like TikToxic, am I right? Nah, it's everyone. Yeah, yeah. Have you seen Witch Talk? Jesus Christ. Oh, I have not. Man. I mean, all bets were off when I heard that the sewing or crocheting community was like one of the most vicious, like hater-filled batches of people on the internet. I was like, oh, okay, all right, Granny, damn, I'm gonna hex the moon, idiot. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, toxicity everywhere, as far as the eye can see. It's a damn shame. But that's why it is more important. It is all the more important to spread positivity. And not toxic positivity, real, honest, human positivity. Connect with people who you fuck with, connect with people who fuck with you, who enjoy your art, who you enjoy each other's content. Collaboration Nation, bro. Collaboration. Do it. We're gonna bind Matt. I'm sure you are, sweetie. Good luck with that, kids. I don't know what it is about TikTok that makes everyone a hater. Because it is such, by design, such insanely short form content, it eliminates the capacity for nuance. That is a trajectory that we have been going along this entire time, where it's like further polarizing, further polarizing. It's like midway points don't usually survive because the fringes are the loudest. Either end of the equation, you only hear like the fringe and the extremes. That's why everybody's perspective of every other like opinion is so strange and skewed, is because it's like, damn, what the fuck is their problem? It's like, no, that's the only guy that you're hearing. There's a lot of reasonable people, you just don't hear them. But I think short from like it started with Twitter, and then it got more and more extreme uh, over time. Yeah, there's a guy, Jack Draws. Stop, collaborate, listen. Wow, thank you, Vanilla Ice. Can I call you Vanilla Ice, Kenjamin Art? There's a Jack Draws. There's a guy on Art Fight making custom dice for people's OCs, and I saw someone else making amigurumi for it. Yo, that's fucking sick. That's super cool. I love that. So I was thinking about doing some for Smokestack and some for whatchamacallit, for Keepsake. Omen is perfect. This guy, as he is, this is exactly what I want him to be. Fucking like Chernobog looking ass. His little fucking, look at his wings. This dude was a hole in one. I'm never gonna do it this well again, so I might as well not even fucking try, dude. Very, very happy with that piece. So let's do Keepsake. I'm gonna do let me see if I haven't already duplicated it. Oh, one layer. Jack Draws. Make sure you have a clean color palette for each of them so people can easily get the colors. It apparently increases your chances of getting attacks. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Maybe I should continue to do the... Nah. I was gonna say maybe I should do the same style with the sort of the blobby blob colors, but it's not what I'm working with right now, and it's not accurate to the final product. There he is, my baby boy. Maybe I'll just collect these and add a couple of expressions, like this one, because I really do. Just make the circles. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, but I was like, I'll just put a little. I already know which ones I use for everything, so you can use blendy colors. Just make the circles. Yes. I understand. All right, so let's do. Let me just make a couple of copies of this, and I'll just put it. Yeah, I'll make a few of these. The more I use this sort of YouTube aspect ratio, the more I enjoy it. Let's do Keepsake. I'm gonna be a real smartest, so to speak, and do name things first. Design sheets or reference sheets, whatever you want to call it. Do beep bop bow. Reference sheets. 2025. Beep boop bop. Copy that. Copy that. All right. Paste. Pow. Skibby dap. Smokestack. My boy. Okay. Omen. It's funny because Omen, the thing that I have storyboard and the thing that I have in mind, he's really not there for long. But, like, he's very important at the same time. So, like, I feel like I kind of have to. Oh, you know who's gonna get a shit ton of hits and attacks and whatever the fuck you want to call them is Medicine Man. That dude is gonna fucking pop off, and I need to polish up his design a little bit anyway. Okay, awesome, great, to a great start. Look how fucking organized I am. Oh, crystals for sure. I like crystals. Shiny. With how shiny I like to make things, I felt like I kind of had to. You know what I mean? And I was thinking about like what do I like looking at more? Fossilized bones or shiny crystals? And I was thinking crystals. Just the way that I feel when I look at like a piece of like labradorite or moonstone and it flashes, I'm like, that's delicious. That shit's so fucking good. I love it. Um, Also, I like real bones. None of them fake bones made of rocks. We don't get as much points off each other, but it's still good. It's either way. I got plans for Art Fight. I'm not gonna. I still have a lot of projects, so I can't do much like extracurricular shit when I'm not actively on stream. But when I'm on stream, it's gonna be really hype. I'm gonna do some fun stuff. So I got ideas at least. How's everybody's day been so far? Decent, all things considered. Hopefully, hopefully, no pressure. Yeah, I'm also going to be doing Art Fight on stream. I think it's a great place for it. I always feel weird about doing like commissions on stream because I spend so much time yakking. A and B, like a lot of the commissions I end up doing are like they want to be surprised. Oh, dude, nice. Just woke up from a nap, so feeling good. Happy for you, Months. I got a little liquid sleep right here. You know what I mean? Genjamin, chill as hell. Work is slow, so I am making assets for shit. Love that. Love that for you. All right, let me go ahead and copy that. I should probably not fuck with this too much. I'm gonna duplicate it just in case. I'm a big fan of duplicating when I'm uncertain how a version is going. Okay. So these are in the same layer for whatever reason. I disagree with that. Combine down, bop bop, and then a flatten. And I'm gonna scoop that on down. Man, the really dramatic dark shading just adds so much to him because he's just a little guy. I'm glad I made that decision. It is going to be a lot harder to animate generally, but it's I don't believe in compromising an idea for convenience, which is not always fun as as a commitment as commitments go. That's not always an enjoyable one to have, but I think I don't know, maybe it's something akin to integrity, but either way, I just like that shit's really important to me. I don't like compromising anything for convenience. I think that like it's like no, you get clever instead. You know what I mean? It's not like I don't know. I guess it's not fair to the idea. You know what I mean? You're not giving it everything it needs. You know, there's like a difference between working smart and working hard, but at the same time, it's like some things are worth working hard for, right? You can tell the difference between something that was made with like a good level of skill and you know, like you can feel the blood, sweat, and tears went into it. You could feel the care. You know the difference if you know like craftsmanship. You can smell it, you know, right? Like, and sometimes, sometimes it is as simple as conveying the illusion of of a process, right? But I don't know. I don't know. Shit's important to me, that's all. He's just a little guy. So I'm gonna put him right here. Do some new little sketches. Do a little color palette thing. And have a good old a gay old time like the Flintstones. It's a little bigger for chat to be actually be able to see what I'm doing. I used to have my own music playing while I was streaming, and when my computer that I had been using died, I transferred everything over. It was a pretty quick and easy process thanks to Maximalt because she had already saved a lot of assets. She helps me with stream stuff here and there, which is amazing. Um, but one of the things that didn't quite make it over was the setup that lets Spotify play on the live stream and then be inaudible for YouTube and the VODs and stuff like that so I don't get, DMCA'd into the ground, right? And whatchamacallit. And so I had a stream without any music whatsoever. And it was kind of nice. It was kind of chill, which I think a lot of people need right now. Like super, super, like not low energy necessarily, but definitely more like laid back. Um, perhaps like this is what the VOD watchers were experiencing anyway. So in a way, it's kind of more equal and more considerate to them to have like absolutely no like. Also, I end up talking about music a lot because I'm just that particular flavor of obnoxious hipster. I'm just like, oh, I fucking love this song. You can hear you can hear the counterpoint here, or whatever, garbage, right? So for the VOD watchers, hi VOD watchers, by the way, all two of you right now. At most, zero views on YouTube, baby. Yeah, we wallow in obscurity. Anyway, I end up talking about music that a lot of the VOD watchers can't hear at all. So no more of that because there's no music right now. Maybe eventually I'll come back to it, or maybe I'll put like some video game music in the background because you can't do anything about they can't do anything about that. More recent games they are putting them on Spotify, so I don't know how that works. But shit from like the N64 and whatnot, I don't know. I don't know. Yo no sé. I think it's probably worth looking up. Enjoy his little funny neck. I was doing this really enjoyable challenge that was basically to do a Sakuga style, like a high effort anime scene in like 24 hours. It was 24 hours at first, and they kept pushing the deadline, etc., etc. So we ended up getting like 48, 72 hours. But it was a really cool collab. A bunch of people showed up. It was run by a couple of anime industry professionals that had like a Discord server. It was really cool. Um, and the piece that I did was with Smokestack. It involved Smokestack and Keepsake. And it was this idea that I had for a while, but like most things, I didn't do anything with it because intrinsic motivation is not very frequent in my noggin, much to my dismay. Um, but when I drew him, he was like the goal, as you can see here, right? He's supposed to look like really, really scrawny, like to the point where it's like almost like mummified, right? Um, but they had a moment before we moved forward with the animation process. Like Ariana Grande, really, 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 really small, just diminutive, tiny. The Grandes, self-proclaimed, have very large heads though. His is a little bit proportionate. But yeah, like he's like minuscule, right? Like I want it to look like there's something wrong with him because he's like, not exactly undead. There's some story elements, but it's supposed to be very vague and kind of like, you know, surreal. So yeah, he's supposed to look like he's like starved or like a mummified or something like that. And there was this moment where we showed them the character designs we had in mind, and they like approved them or not, been like because that's echoing the process for the anime industry. And he was looking at it, he's like, yeah, I really like it. It looks like something you'd see out of Ranking of Kings or something like that. And I was like, I guess I need to watch Ranking of Kings now. But he was drawing him, and he was just doing, industry. He's been drawing for like and animating for like a while, but he was drawing him, and the platonic ideal of like the male form or anything like it, a more masculine shape, just flowed so naturally from him that he was, even when he was just doodling, it was like he was like this like big meaty version of Smokestack. I'm like, that's wrong though. But like it made me think about the fact that like in comics and anime and anything like that, right? Swolstack. Oh man, I need to draw that at some point, not now. But yeah, it just kind of like it was kind of interesting to me to think about the fact that it's just so baked into us that when a body is rendered or drawn or anything like that, there's a huge opportunity for expressiveness that is lost in the homogeny, the assumption of the, like this is what you want to see. It's like, yeah, but like what if it isn't in the character? Where's the variation? There's a story in everybody's body. It's boring, yes. Soulstack is a new OC. Fuck. Shit. God damn it. Me. I should probably swear less on stream. Also me. Fuck. Shit. God damn it. Oh man. I usually swear within the first like 8 seconds tops. It's one of the first words out of my mouth, so like why do I have no views on YouTube? Algorithm's like, whoa, hey, Darcy does cosplay. Thank you for the follow. It is great to see you. As you can see in the description, I'm setting up some reference sheets for my characters for Art Fight. Hell yeah. But welcome, welcome. I hope you are comfortable and I hope you enjoy yourself. Very, very low key stream, just yapping and drawing, baby. Hope your day's going well. Uh, those of you who don't know, my name is Nathan Blackwood, aka Blackvoot. I make art and music, and I play the BGO games. Right now, I'm running 2 concurrent streams because I'm stupid and crazy. One on Mondays where I play every Mega Man X game in order. I've beaten all of them, and I've moved on to Mega Man Zero. And one on Friday called Devil May Cry Day Friday, where I'm currently playing through Devil May Cry 3. I'm doing all of them in order. Big fan of retro games, big fan of Capcom games. And right smack dab in the middle of the week, I do Visual Wednesday. Because I need shit to be alliterative or I lose my mind. So I will skew reality to make a W into a V. I'm also going to be lurking. I'm making my lunch before I go to work. Hell yeah, absolutely. Working and lurking. Hope you enjoy your time, my friend. Thank you for the follow. Let's get this out of here. I always draw my buddy here with the full plume. And I was thinking about how, like, you know, like, for all intents and purposes, using, like, cat ears to augment expressions for, like, feline characters and stuff like that. It's like this every single component of your character that can be used to convey a gesture or expression, you should use it. All of it. And that's like basic cartoon shit, and it doesn't always read on a more realistic context, but I think it does matter, and I like it a lot as a choice. Oh, Artfight website says you're randomly assigned a team when you sign up, but Jack was talking about choosing. Was I led astray? Jack, why would you lie to me? Thank you, Moxie, for disambiguating. Go to Moxie Moth for all your disambiguity needs. Because everything I say is ambiguous 9 times out of 10, or just wrong. I am a fool and a liar, incidentally, due to my ignorance and arrogance. I'll drink to that. That's pretty cool. Well, either way, I'm cool with it, because rocks are nice. Streamer promoting misinformation, how dare. I'm not promoting it, I'm just saying I am full of it. And by it, I mean bullshit. Accidentally. Citation needed. A lot of things that I say I think are true. I would pass the lie detector test. So do with that what you will. I don't know. I'm never lying on purpose, all right? But how do you know that isn't a lie? Oh, my little baby boy to be sad. He's having a long day. He's very tired. It's really weird. I feel like I keep bouncing around between art styles, and I keep feeling like I'm leaving something behind every time I swap. Like I just like forget how to do shit. Black lies like a fish drinks water. I'm just gonna put that as like the tagline for my channel, like in quotes. Hmm. Yeah, you know, I do my best. I do my best to promote honesty and frankness, but I'm also kind of a fucking idiot. So like, hope hope the things that I say are true. If I talk about something involving like, you know, a skill or something that I've learned, you can see what I'm doing. So that's probably going to be like fine. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm a silly Billy. Speaking of hopefully not misinformation, I remember things that people tell me, all right, and I hope, but like, you know, my memory is kind of fuzzy, so I'm just like, when I look back, I'm like, I hope that was right, you know? So, citation needed. Remember things people tell you? No, not like a lot of them. If I find them interesting beyond a certain point that can like armor piercing bullet through like the titanium shell that is apparently coating my brain, maybe Teflon coated, thing shit just slides off, you know. But like Um, I had a coworker who was from South India. Her name was Kalpana, which means imagination. And we had a lot of. She was a very interesting person. She was kind of like the work mom. Um, she uh, she was very no nonsense. Um, and she was just a hoot. Like she had like a very mischievous sense of humor on top of being like the most competent person, one of the most competent people I've ever met. She was also like tiny, like really small. Sorry, Kalpana. If you somehow end up seeing this in the future, she was very small. I'm like 6'1", so like it's all relative to me. But like she was also very like very small and also very skinny. So she was like very small from my perspective, but she was a ball buster. She was so freaking like cool. It's like such an interesting combination of like funny and competent. Um, and her nickname was Lily, and I was like, and then she was talking about how she got the nickname, um, uh, Lily Billy, right? Uh, her mother, I think it was her mother, either grandmother or her mother, but one of her maternal relatives would make cream on the stove, right? And when you're boiling milk, a skin forms on the top. When she was a kid, she would steal the milk skin and eat it, right? And so her mother called her Lily Billy, which means cat. Like Lily was just a separate nickname, but Lily Billy was like Lily means cat. It was super cute. So yeah, Billy in her dialect of Hindi was it means cat. I thought that was really fucking cute. Milk skin. I know it's disgusting to me personally, but I was like, you know what? I could see it. I enjoyed dairy in very many forms. That's what it's called though. Like there's no other word for it. I guess you could say like as the cream was forming on the top, but like from my vernacular, that is absolutely milk skin. My boy, he's got a noggin forming. There it is. He's got his neck. This could just be the whole character right here. There it is. Milk skin with kerning. There he is. No face necessary. Perfect. Just a tube. Truly a smokestack. Head exploded. It happens. You know. One of the, because he is kind of the avatar or mascot for my music, um, it is kind of like he's very, I mean, he looks a little bit like me at least. Um, with like the little tiny nose and shit, but like I definitely wanted to I was thinking of, I like characters that billow, you know what I mean? I love scarves, I love, smoke, I love big hair. I don't know, maybe it was Mega Man that instilled that in me with Zero and shit, but yeah, like good secondary motion, another little source, like like flowing skirts, flowing jackets, anything that amplifies the existing motion that a character is taking and gives it that secondary motion. It's my favorite sauce to put on a character design. Um, but I bet that if I equated myself and Smokestack, people would ask if I had a tobacco habit or was a stoner or anything like that. But it is in a lot of ways. Whether I had this intention immediately or not, I've realized I was like, maybe it's just because of what I was just talking about of just kind of being full of hot air. You know what I mean? It's always um, there's another character that I designed that I don't think I have anything of him on this sketchbook, but his name's Penman, and I might put him in the art fight, maybe not. But he's basically like he's like a fountain point, like a fountain pen dude, right? He got like a little collar. One of those characters that started out as a doodle and just hung around because I was like, I love this guy, right? Just a really really quick drawing of him. Um, Penman, very fun, and he also he's always emitting ink, right? Another billowing character, and I think they're both two sides of the same coin. They're both things that I project onto. Um, and it's because my brain never shuts the fuck up. Bleck is spinning lies again. About what? There's chat lag. What are you talking about? I'm innocent. I was framed. That's also a lie. Smokestack is named as such because Bleck is a smoke show. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I don't know what that means actually, Kenjamin. That's not a lie. That's the truth. I don't know what that means. Is it like smoke and mirrors, like a falsehood kind of situation? That means hot. Oh, let's go. Kenjamin, how dare you? But yeah, thanks. Smoke show is a term for someone that is very attractive. Well, well, thanks. Ah, I appreciate it. You're wrong, but I appreciate
Oh no!
it. Oh, thank you for reminding me. I got to put Captain Falcon Punch as a point redeem. Hey, asshole. There we go. Anyway, yeah, this is Penman, and I love him. But a similar vibe and a similar like concept of like a character who is constantly emitting like things are constantly coming out of their head whether they want it to or not, because my brain does not have an off switch. It's literally always generating something. um and that's not bragging. That's literally, and that's not, I'm not gonna say it's a curse. Ooh, it's a curse to be creative. It's just a statement of fact. Just a statement of fact. It won't shut up, and I just every once in a while I'm like seeing something that wafts by in my head. I'm like, oh hey, that's a really good idea actually. Usually if I'm like washing dishes or in the shower or something about running water. Anywho, that's characters that are constantly like producing stuff out of their little noggins. Make the brow a little bit too heavy. I think noses are one of the like I could see why people stick around in anime land for so long if they pick up an anime art styles, because it's like the nose is a fucking nightmare to draw. Like it's fine after a certain point, but it is really like okay, put it this way. It's very difficult to stylize while retaining realism to me, because pareidolia exists, which is the ability to recognize face. I think specifically faces in inhuman, like human faces in inhuman objects, but it might just be human features. I'm gonna look that up. Citation needed. Pareidolia. Yeah, if you see a face, like the very act of being able to see this as a face, it is a cute face, isn't it? Is pareidolia. It's the human ability and urge to project humanity onto inhuman things. And it's really, honestly, kind of beautiful. It's why art depictions of people works as a thing that we indulge in, that we participate in every day as artists, like drawing characters. Is, you know, animating is that much further, like that much furthering of a concept of humanizing the inhuman. It's a series of pictures in a row that convey a gesture or a movement. God, it's so fucking cool. But yeah, I don't know. Um noses are like, you can draw it and you can see it. You're like, that's supposed to be a nose, but like making it really look like it's supposed to, like look like it's perfectly shaped, like nostrils. Everybody's like, yeah, I could draw a fucking nose, and then it's like, okay, show me your best nostril. Draw me a fucking nostril, and like realistic, right? It's like, might be harder than you think. It's really weird to me to see. I'm so happy that there are so many animation softwares that are accessible now. Like the fact that Procreate has an animation feature at all is insane for me. And it's so, like, so necessary, right? Because that's how I've done all my animation work so far. Especially considering Procreate Dreams is still like so difficult to use due to its lack of features that should be baked in. But like, it's a really interesting thing to see people learning how to animate basically as they're learning how to draw or before they really learn how to do solid drawing. Because like back in the day you just didn't really have the ability. Like the closest we got was Flash animation, and you were probably already, if you start animating on Flash, you were probably already, or like being able to release shit, right? You're probably already drawing for a little while at least, or already had the capacity to draw. Um, so like I'm seeing things on social media where it's like, wow, that was like honestly like a really that was a really cool, really tricky technique that that person did. Wow, that was a really effective animation. And then it closes up on one of the faces. I was like, whoa, how do you not know how to draw faces by now if you can do that? Crazy. And it's just like it's just really interesting to me this sort of like the order of operations not being as set in stone. It's pretty cool, but it is also like, dude, I really need you. I need you to work on the faces because this is like really high quality shit that you're like falling short with part of it. And I like you're so close, dude. You're so good. You have no idea, right? I don't know. Maybe that in and of itself is shady, but like I don't know. I have I have opinions. You're allowed to have opinions. Procreate Dreams, man. Program is like they've been talking about 1.1 for a while. I think they might as well just call it 2.0 honestly. But 1.1, if it gives me everything that they've been promising for a little over a few months, um it could really be a game changer for me because as it stands, I don't really have access to any animation software or the money to buy any more animation software that works with audio. And I'm still using Procreate Dreams right now for a couple of projects that I need it for. But like, oh god, it's just a few quick changes away from being like exactly what I need and improving my workflow exponentially. Um, I should really learn Blender in the meantime. Grease Pencil. That's the program that Worthy Kids uses, if I'm not mistaken. Blender specifically, Grease Pencil. What is a what is an artist that you really really respect who you think has had like a huge influence on you? Could be a character designer, Could be an animator, could be indie or professional. When I say who's an artist that has influenced you, chat, if you make art, no pressure. When I say that phrase, who comes to mind? Could even be a musician. It could be anything. I just want to hear what gets your creative juices flowing. Whose work are you like, fuck yeah, dude. My little guy distraught. Who hurt you? Patrick Nagel. Patrick Nagel. I'm looking it up. Oh yeah, yeah. Good shit. I've seen their stuff. Yeah, I've seen his stuff. Died in the 80s. Wow. 1984. Yeah, that's iconic, man. That's like it's like vector art before it was even a thing. I kind of did yeah, it's quintessential 80s for sure. Sorry, I can't bring it up. I'm not going to Google search on stream. See my tabs and shit. But yeah, quintessential 80s. Good stuff, good stuff. I did almost that I was kind of riffing on his style. I didn't know his name, but for like a when I had a subscription to Flash, like a trial version, and I was messing around with that in high school. I made um I made some art for Mox, where she had like a thundercloud that had like purple lightning in it for her hair. It was like a portrait style. Halftone's so good. Roy Lichtenstein sounds familiar. Oh yeah, yeah. That's classic pulp comic shit. Yeah. I just like Halftones. He's got a really interesting face too. When I see the pop art like comic style, I immediately just think of like those clips from like the Private Eye comics. Dick, I gotta have Dick. This shit is so funny. Oh man, that's a good one though. It's very that makes sense uh for you. I like that. Starfire. Oh, Starfire. Yeah, I gotta right, really. I miss Teen Titans, man. And I don't mean Go. Like Teen Titans Go, I think was like exactly what I didn't want to happen. You know what I mean? Love the strongly illustrated styles. Yeah, a very clear vision. Like, back of the house shit, right? You could see it from so far away. He's so fucking sad. Look at him. What? Legit, early 2000s Teen Titans was where they had a narrative so good. Like because like my least favorite part, I dealt with it right because it was a I've always been like a real dickhead about like what I perceive as authentic or whatever, right? So it's like I it took me a little bit like I was that really fucking annoying naysaying know it all little bitch where it's like I saw Digimon, I was like, it was just trying to be Pokemon. One of my friends was showing me Banjo Kazooie like for the first time, and I saw it. I was like, it was just like Mario 64. It's a big deal. You know what I mean? I didn't even like. I was just over at a friend's house, and I was like, it's just the same shit. It's like, yeah, it's a 3D platformer. They set the fucking bar. So it was like that about Samurai Jack. I was like, this is just American animation trying to be anime, right? So I was like, I was a little bit of a stick in the mud about that for Teen Titans being like very like, you know, it's like it's chibi. I'm like, I don't know if you have the right to do that. You're not from Japan. You know what I mean? But I was like, whatever. You know, after a while, because the rest of it was so fucking good. And then Teen Titans Go was essentially all the whimsy with none of the action. And I was like, okay, all right, that's not what I wanted. Thank you. Maeve! She's slow blinking at me. You want some food? She's like, really, Dad? Maeve, come over here. Licking your chops. Come over here. She was napping, and now I'm snapping. Getting her to come over here. Well, I guess I could just keep drawing, Maeve. I think maybe a little bit too elongated of a forehead. I wish Procreate didn't absolutely crush the shit out of things when you resize them. That's like the main thorn in my side for the program. You can't see it from here because I'm like, I'm actually working at a fairly high resolution for once, but if you look close, you could see that it blurred. Like, look at these lines in comparison to each other. It's pretty annoying. Maeve! Come over here, baby! She's blinking and licking her nose. Maeve! Come here, baby! Come here, sweetie pie, I love you. You're so precious. There she goes, there she goes. Yes! Yes! Yes, chat. Come here, sweetie, I want to hold you. Come here, little baby. You're so cute. You're so cute. Aren't you the best little kitty in the whole wide world? Aren't you the best little kitty? Whoop, wanna grab you. Ha 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 ha. Ho 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 ho. Watch your head. That's my Maeve. That's my Maeve. Oh. Say hi to Chet. She always puts her fucking paw on my face. I know where that's been. Say hi to Chad. Look! Look at those little peeps. Look at those little beady peeps. Watch her ears. Oh, she's purring. Oh, you're so cute. Do you want some? Watch her ears. You want some food? Hee. You want some food? Yeah, I'll get you some food. Okay. Thank you so much for humoring me, little baby cat. Oh, her fucking purrs, dude. Well, I'll be right back. Make yourselves comfortable. Don't go nowhere. I will return momentarily. All right. Burp. Hey guys, welcome back. Slash, thank you for your patience. You saw him in the intro screen too. Wow, there he is. It's the guy. And he's back for more. Anyway, all right. Let's see. Let's see. I might have to redo the smoke. Haha, for the stack. Maybe I'll just keep the alpha the same and do this real quick. Just for posterity. Because there is a little bit of green in there that I do want. Let me go ahead and just remove this little area right here. Make this smaller. Looks pretty good, but I think I could do a little bit better. Thank you, Selector Tool. Thank you. If only Procreate Dreams had one of you. Wow, that'd be crazy. Get a little bit looser, too. Yeah. Perfect. I love this brush, dude. It's so fucking nice. Hearts is what it's called, and it's a stock brush. I was just like, oh, yep, you guys did it. Way to fucking go, man. Smidge more shading on that. In terms of artists that have influenced me, I feel like the people that I end up, the lens through which I perceive a lot of art is very intensely influenced by my special interests growing up, being, like anime and video games and shit predominantly. Back, it was pretty. I've said it before, but it was interesting. It's interesting because like all things considered, it's kind of mainstream now, and that's not a bad thing necessarily, right? It's just different. Um, but like, you were a weirdo if you liked anime, like when I was growing up, and so there was this sort of like, this sort of like pride hipster bullshit that came with like being a fan of that kind of thing. Um, but I digress. It's, like a lot of the things that impacted me most were definitely like, you know, uh, Kazuma Kaneko comes to mind. I've sung his praises before on the Devil May Cry streams. Just him and the other character designer for Shin Megami Tensei, uh, whose name I regrettably forget, were very, very like the sort of typical anime dynamic mindset combined with almost like a lens of fashion was I don't know, it was really, really, really important to me. It hit harder than a lot of things that I had seen. Um, just something about it, I really gravitated towards it. Um, but yeah, like that kind of character designer, Yoji Shinkawa of Metal Gear fame, his shit is insanely skillful. It's so beautiful and appealing to look at. Like just line work, line work, line work, line work, amazing. It can't get it's like catnip to me, that shit. Again, it's sort of like you have kind of an anime centered mindset with a lens of glamour, you know? I mean, that's why JoJo to me works as well as it does. is just like some combination of masculine and feminine energy, and a lot of where the magic happens is right in between at the melting point, like the melding point, I should say. Really, really, just like, ooh, I don't know, something about this. Uh, Ayami Kojima, the artist for Castlevania, I believe, starting with Symphony of the Night. That's what she's known for. Is like, holy shit, beautiful men. Oh my god, like I have her art book, which is not Castlevania shit exclusively, but there are a couple little sketches in there. Wow, yeah, she's world class. Something so like a I seem to be drawn towards things that have a nice mixture of like skill and like there's some sensuality to it just woven into it. Like it's not explicit art necessarily. It's just like there's there's a definite like sensitivity and sensuality just in its core. I just love it so much. Kinu Nishimura. I don't know if y'all know her. She is the one responsible for. If you look her name up, you're like, oh my god, she of course she did that. You look at all the promotional Capcom art, you're like, holy shit, she is prolific. She's the one who they go to. You know what I mean? Like, and that's further exemplified by the fact that she was the one they chose to do all of the portrait art for the characters in Capcom versus SNK 2. Check it out. Um, all of the art. I mean, like, especially in contrast to like the super realistic but also goofy stuff that they had for SNK, which if you like that, different strokes for different folks, I find it really funny, especially Shinakuma, who I think I'm going to make into an emote, by the way. Yas! Yasing Shinakuma. Um, he just has a simple zest for life. But yeah, her work, that's what I associate with her work, and that's some of my favorite. Uh, it's just it's so it's so loose and expressive, and it walks such a delicate line between like cartooniness and like slightly more realistic. Like in terms of like the expressions are human, but the art is cute. Like and like it's like anime, but there's like a lot of heart and experience to it, if that makes sense. I don't know. Just think about her drawing of like evil Ryu for the portrait art, and he's like looking through his headband that's going across his face. And I was like, that's the coolest evil Ryu has ever looked. That's like so damn. Oh, yeah, her shit's real. Look up Kinu Nishimura. This is her name. Also, women artists represent. She draws female characters like hotter than most of the male artists by leaps and bounds. If you look at her art of like Morrigan, of any of the female characters. Oh yeah, she also did the portrait art for Marvel vs. Capcom too. There you go. She's incredible, and her range is unbelievable in terms of her like who she can draw and how well she can draw them. Like damn, props, insane props. Tatsuya Yoshikawa. I didn't wasn't a huge fan of his interpretation of the Mega Man X crew, but he did really good work with Breath of Fire. I like his stuff a lot. Um, yeah. In terms of Western artists, Muka, huge fan of Muka. Like I like Art Nouveau. Um, I love Art Deco, so I guess Erte is definitely worth mentioning. I think that's the artist and not just the name of the book that I read. If we're talking fashion, Alexander McQueen. I mean, I know that's like basic bitch high fashion as a person to like tout for high fashion, but like because everybody knows his name, but like, dude, his work is undeniable, absolutely undeniable. I love it so much. one thing that I definitely regret throughout I guess my life in general is just how short my attention span is in many contexts. 'Cause it's like, you know, I have never been too much of a reader. There's like one or two books that I have just like consumed voraciously, but like it takes a lot to get me to that point. Um, and so there's a lot of things that I'm a very visual person. I really like just absorbing art and stuff like that. Um, just like looking at different people's artwork, but like for so much of my like childhood and what have you, I like there's a lot of shit that I didn't pay attention to. Like I didn't read any books. I just looked at the fucking pictures. That classic, right? These books don't have any pictures, right? And it's like there's a lot of shit that I could have learned about the artists, about yada yada, just in general. Like, and this is one thing that I think, like it's funny because like my dad reads a lot of nonfiction. My mom is a writer. She writes fiction. Um, and they're both whatever flavor they're reading. They read a shit ton of books. My house was full of them growing up, and I just because I was forced to for like book reports and shit, I wanted nothing to do with them. I was just like absolutely fucking not. And if they had just been like, if you have a good visual imagination, reading books paints pictures in your fucking head. It's awesome. If that is how they were pitched to me, right? Maybe it would have been a different story. Maybe my attention span was short enough that it wouldn't have mattered any way you slice it. Because I was introduced to video games pretty fucking early, partially due to my brother absolutely loving them. And it's like, I'm not gonna, stand on a soapbox as like an opponent to teaching your kids about video games too early because that's like the source of like a well of inspiration for so much of the art that I make today is the things that I fell in love with as a kid playing all those fucking old school video games. But it's like, you know, I feel like if it had been presented to me differently, I would have I would have been an avid reader. And now I would have more attention span for things like informative articles or things like that. But as it stands, I just get my information secondhand from people that I trust, little brother syndrome, and just look at other media that inspires me visually, right? It's a shame. Audiobooks do paint pictures in my head. I have a very active imagination. It's just like sitting down and reading, I just start going, you know what I mean? Unless it's like exactly what my brain is looking for in terms of clamping onto and imagining with. Maxima, so funny because every book I was forced to read in school, I finished in days instead of following the chapter guidelines because I just loved reading. Yeah, I read. I read slow as fuck. We actually saw directly on a trip that we took together. Was that was that our honeymoon that I read American Gods, and then I started making my way through it, and then you were like, "I'm out of books to read because I read all of them too fast," and then you read American Gods in like a day, and you were like, "I really want a book club with you." But you're taking too long to read it. We found out that you read literally 3 times faster than I do. It's pretty funny. Um, and yeah, like I read deep, but I don't read quickly at all. Every word just like slowly seeps into me, but I can't read any faster than a certain point, which I don't know. Maybe that only assists my unwillingness to do so. I don't know. I hate when like a piece of media that you really love ends up being complicated by the association with its creator. It's a real fucking shame. and there's nothing you can really do about it, right? Absolutely. You're like, well, you either gotta read it and like just understand, right? You're like, well, I can't not think about that. I can't not think about it personally. Some people are like, I can separate art from artists. It's like I don't think that's a good idea anymore. I don't think you have the capacity to do that. Like, it's just it does depend on the artist, I think, beyond a certain point, how little you can do that. But at the end of the day, the result is pretty much the same as far as I'm concerned, which is they're too inexorably connected for someone to really do that in good faith. And so you just got to be able to move on, be thankful for when you were able to indulge in something if it was good, you know, learn what made it good and maybe make art as good if possible, right? Just like without the negative connotations. I don't know, as good or better. It is complicated. Things are complicated when other people are involved. I wouldn't say hell is always other people, but like also I really like Beautiful Joe was one of the first times I was really exposed to that like really really stark black shadow. And I really like it. I like it a lot. I always have. Um, Maybe Batman the Animated Series was like not on the characters as much. That was very I think that was very like early 2000s when it started popping up with that fervor. Not the first time we saw it, but like maybe like Frank Miller Sin City was a pretty it's very like 90s to early 90s comics to early aughts cartoons. That's I think where you saw a lot of it. Is that like really really black shading. It's so cool, like really intense blocks and fragments of shadow that just add kind of like a grit to something, and it's pretty appealing. Hits very specifically. I'm a big fan of it personally. Yeah, I think I associate it with Frank Miller. I didn't read too much of his stuff. I read a little bit of Sin City after I saw the movie, which was fine. It's fun. It was fun seeing Elijah Wood being a villain because he's such like a sweetie. Like he's such a sweet guy. I love how much he loves when people like over the garden wall. He's like, oh my god. It was one of my favorite things to work on. I was like, you're fucking yes, I love you, bro. And you're a DJ for some reason. It's great. But yeah, seeing him being a villain was pretty fun. One of the few things I do remember from the movie. I wonder. I might look it up at some point after stream. I wonder what the first instance of that really really stark black shading was. 'Cause I really like it. Oh, speaking of Batman the Animated Series, I think it was Kenjamin who told me, or somebody in chat was telling me that Batman the Animated Series was made using black paper, which I think is so cool. And it's in some ways it's kind of validating for me too because I did there's a lot of shit that I did when I was doing more traditional media because I have not always had access to digital art. I might have, but I don't recall. I don't remember who it was. It could have been Mato B. I don't know. Somebody in chat though definitely told me. I did not know it uh, before recently. Their approach was really cool. Yeah. I just I used to do a lot of stuff with toned paper and cutting out paper, doing stuff with charcoals and whatnot. And I do kind of miss that. I love just having a consistent set of colors at my disposal. Every once in a while, I do fiddle, and I do change things up here and there, but like it's so nice to like I would love to paint if I didn't have to make the colors from scratch every time. Some people are probably looking at me like I'm fucking crazy because that's something that like, you know, A, it just becomes kind of second nature the more you do it, I'm sure. And B, some people might actually find it soothing. Me, I really, really want to be able to get something every time exactly the way that I want it. That's why I made the palettes around Procreate's like setup is so that I could work within the program that I'm kind of like it's like, it might not be the best idea. I'm putting all my eggs in one basket past a certain point, but like I have learned a lot about like colors from my experimentation within Procreate. I don't I don't know any color theory, you know what I mean? Like associations or stuff like that. Red means luck. And I think not in every case, but I think it is kind of it can be kind of silly when you see people like, well, you see this, but you actually don't know anything about color theory, clearly, because like what I'm thinking of was there was this discourse that was happening online where it was like a children's wing in a hospital, and there was this, they made it look like there were paint streaks, like a giant paintbrush led from one place to another, right? And one of the paint strokes, the giant paint strokes, was in red paint. And it literally looked like somebody had been killed and dragged around a corner in a hospital. And there were these people who were arguing. They were like, well, red is association with fortune or whatever the fuck, right? Whatever they were saying, they weren't hearing what everybody else was immediately perceiving, which is that the association with a red streak that is wider than a certain point, or even just a red streak on the floor in general, in a hospital, looks like blood. Like someone was just murdered. But they wouldn't hear it because they're an expert. They understand. It's like, dude. So with that in mind, I think that it's healthy to have a dose of perception beyond whatever theorizing you have been doing. Um, I feel like colors are something that's so personal from individual to individual that it's kind of silly to think, and so universal too. It's a little strange to me to ascribe a universal meaning to something that is so personal. Do you know what I mean? I think it is a little bit at least counterintuitive to be like, well, whatever you think of when you see this color, you're wrong. I think that's a little arrogant. Um, just from where I'm standing, it's a little bit strange and a little bit in like there's a certain lack of conscientiousness or understanding for your fellow person to be like, well, it doesn't matter what this reminds you of because this is what I read in a book. Kenjamin, I knew a guy, he fashioned himself to be the next Tolkien and created a magic system for his books. He was showing me his ideas, and one was an orange triangle. I asked if it was for fire. I know you wrote Gorefire, don't worry about it. He winced and acted like I was a fool for not knowing it was Earth. Right. Was it a vertical triangle too? Like, was it facing upright, like Triforce style? Oh, sure, yeah, of course. No. Because at least if it was facing down, there would be like some kind of suspension. What I mean? It's like, oh, it's pointing down for Earth, and like, you could say like, well, orange is like, brown is just dark orange, and desat and saturated differently, et cetera, et cetera. But like, how if it's that like immediate of an association, maybe it's wrong, dude. You know what I mean? Everybody would think that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same exact shit as like as the hospital blood trail. It's the same shit. Just people have associations they naturally make because of our society. Like consider how your readers will approach it. Yeah. What was fire then? Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's. Yeah. I don't know. It's odd. It's very odd. Like the certain detachments that people can end up getting. I think fire was a yellow square, maybe. All right, dude. I don't know. I don't know. Whoops. Sad boy smokestack. Um. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's really just. Yeah, it is kind of a read the room situation, but like in a broader sense of like understand what other people are gonna think. I mean, let's be honest. Usually, wind and earth end up like because fire, you see fire, and it's from either yellow to orange to. I think red for fire. You like it's like it makes sense if you think about it from like a brush fire, right? It makes everything else around it red, right? From the lighting. Bro is cribbing emblems from a preschool block toy. I mean, also yes, it's both basic and a little bit unintelligible in terms of like it's like what you would associate immediately. And listen, I'm all about subverting expectations, but yeah, stuffy artists will act like their shit don't stink. It's like I think it's a sensibility from being an animator. You know what I mean? Aspiring to be an animator at least, where it's like legibility is so goddamn important. Like the animator's survival guide, I believe it's called. Great. I only saw like one excerpt from it. It was really really good though. Super comprehensive. A lot of like really nice techniques and philosophy about it. Without being pretentious, it's like this is what you want. And dude was talking about how important it is to put something forward clearly. Hold on a second. While I'm talking about him, I'm gonna at least mention him by name. Animators, survival kits. Thank you, laptop, for being right here. Author, cool. Yeah, perfect, perfect, perfect. Richard Williams, yes. He worked on Who Framed Roger Rabbit and stuff like that. He's a very, very good animator. Yeah. Computer game stop motion internet. It's a very, very good book. Super comprehensive. Richard Edmund Williams, yeah. Three-time Academy Award winner, best known for animation director of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was really good. He's very, very good. And the book is fantastic. Um, Still have it around somewhere. I should definitely read it again. Um, but yeah, he was talking about legibility and how it is literally the most important, people understanding the action, because like with something like animation, with something like film, anything like that, you have the capacity to tell a story without necessarily needing words. And I mean, that's one thing that I just love so much about people like Genndy Tartakovsky, is they're taking full advantage the amount of space and the amount of action that they can convey without even a character saying anything, just through environmental storytelling and character focused storytelling, and not necessarily dialogue focused. Like the opportunities that exist within that, and yet further in some ways within video games, because you are controlling the pace. You know, you're controlling a character that is a vessel for your interaction with the entire world that's put out in front of you. It's There are literally like endless opportunities to tell a story without necessarily needing words. And I think more people could stand to drink of that knowledge, right? But like if you're good enough at conveying information, at storytelling through art, like some not everybody will get it, which, so not everybody's an artist, not everybody understands the same way, but like it's a hell of a good start. How well you can convey something even without the addition of words. Really, just I love it. I love it so much. Sad boy entity hours. Think, yeah, that'll work. So, quote unquote, no, how could anyone read this red line like a blood smear? Uncultured swine. Yeah, yeah, Kenj. So people like, it's just like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, you missed the point. Exactly. Yeah, it's like that is antithetical to good storytelling, is rejecting what people would perceive based on niche information. You know what I mean? It's at best it's like classism, right? Kenjamin. Oh God, there is such an interesting graphic novel by Jim Henson called Tale of Sand. Ooh, Jim Henson, huh? That's awesome. It was spearheaded by his daughter, but his original concept was to tell a story primarily through sound effects, which, as a graphic novel, it creates a very unique approach to storytelling. That's crazy. I like that. That's super interesting. Tale of Sand. What a cool concept. It's kind of odd. I like it. Henson was cool. He had a lot of really ideas. Really ideas. Wow. Like me, he has a lot of really ideas. No, that's really cool. I love that. He had a lot of really interesting ideas. There we go. Well done, Mouth. High five. Um, but yeah, it's like dude was definitely an artist. Like first and foremost, he let his mind guide him to a lot of really interesting places, and I respect him a lot. Muppets wouldn't have taken off without him. Not to say that there weren't really, really great, talented people involved in the Muppets all over. Like, obviously, they were really important to its success, but like, he really like I don't know. He was special. I'll put it that way. Just sound a little guy. One thing we're everything's very very dystopian right now. I don't have to mention. I don't think I have to really. That's not really a hot take by any stretch of the imagination. But like, there is. I don't. I don't. I think social media is kind of a dangerous thing because of the way that it and things like it commoditize the human experience. Um, but I really one thing I will say about it is the fact that I've met so many interesting people and interesting artists and people who are just doing their own thing, you know. It would be I don't know. I'm not exactly in the position for one reason or another to do any like in-person events of any kind, but like I'm really glad that I at least have the Discord to like talk to people who are making things that are cool. You know, like we need to especially with the advent of, you know, and the push for AI based media being so strong and so virulent and so like supported by people who have way more money than I can even imagine. Um, it you know you could spend your time fighting an uphill battle, at, being a salmon swimming upstream like against a deluge. But I think it's important that somebody fights it. But if you don't have the capacity, like at least just make shit that is yours. Make human art. Make dope shit. We need to continue making stuff. Artists can't stop even if they wanted to. So you need to make sure that like humanity remains in art at least in some small avenues. Keep, just keep that funk alive, so to speak. I feel so fortunate to have at least a small amount of people in uh my community that like are genuinely like artists, craftspeople, hobbyists, enthusiasts, everything. You know what I mean? Like it's just starting. We're almost 100 people strong, and I'm just like I'm so excited to see what comes of it, and I'm just so humbled by the company that I am privileged enough to keep in some of these people. It's just a really nice spot. I'm very grateful for it. I'm grateful for you all. And I will not stop if y'all don't stop, all right? I'm not going to stop anyway. I can't. I don't know how. Unfortunately, most of the time I also don't know how to start. the sort of the duality of being a goddamn artist. I think it was who was it? Was it George Michael? I feel like it was George Michael who said it, where he was like, "If I could do anything other than make music, I would." You know what I mean? Dude, I see it, Kenjamin. It's really inspiring. People like you and Eric of Matt Black Studio, people who are just kind of like persisting and continuously making shit. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. It's very inspiring. It makes me wanna also keep it up. The best motivator I could possibly ask for though is Moxie Moth. She much, like at her own expense a lot of the time really keeps me going, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Sorry, I can be such a stick in the mud sometimes, and so like a car that won't start, you know what I mean? Thank you, bro. Gonna try and get back to Twitch. Dude, I mean, literally, literally, I would be streaming on YouTube as well right now if they had custom emotes. Literally, it's that stupid. But the ability to impose my sense of self onto, like, weave that into my need to not shut the fuck up and pitch in, be a peanut gallery to whatever's going on, be class clown. Like those factors combined, it makes me keep coming back to Twitch. I'm gonna do both. You should, yeah, the concurrent streaming. I'm not doing that just yet, but I probably will eventually. It's like when I have more YouTube content, probably. And I don't count the VODs because nobody watches them. It's just for posterity. But like, yeah, absolutely. Happy for you, man. Please do it up. Yeah. Let's do this. Boop. Skibba scabba skibba scabba. Skip one. Like a ham. Like some kind of strange space ham. That's what's happening here. If I recall correctly, it stopped there. Yeah, yeah. That'll be just fine. But yeah, fuck yeah. I look forward to seeing what you do, man. I I'm very much still right smack dab in the middle of burnout. Um, Knowing that it was coming and an inevitability helped a little bit because I think it's really, really easy to just sit there kicking yourself for hours of like, why can't I do anything? What's going on? And then if you know that you're in burnout, you're like, okay, then I need to approach this differently and I can work. I have to figure out a way, literally any way to get work done while in this state, even if I have to crawl on my fucking hands and knees because whether it's client work or your own work, like the clock is going to keep on ticking. You have to do it, right? It's beyond you. This is such a cute drawing of him. I'm really happy with it. He's like, what the fuck, man? Let me see how this looks without the outline on the smoke, and I think it will work okay. Maybe better. Yeah, it definitely needs no outline. But I don't regret doing it to begin with because it does add a little bit more structure. I've been in this like I've been in this like hemming and hawing stage of what I want for my art style for a couple of personal projects, and it's been brutal, man. Probably in no small part due to being in burnout, but it's like I don't know. It's like it's tough to make decisions sometimes. I'm gonna do one more sketch of smokestack here, and then I'm gonna add the color palette, and then I think I'll call it a day. I want to make sure that people get a feel for his expression and not just that he's a horror of some kind, which is true. But yeah, one, two. Oh yeah, his axe. I never fucking draw his axe. It's like really goddamn important. And I just don't draw it. I get so swept up in his regular ass design that I forget that he has like a goddamn it's important. It's important. That's great. That's exactly what I want. Yeah. I like his hands here. I like how big they are. Wow. Whoa. Wow. It's a very specific shape. Anything that's been around as long as something as like a woodcutter's axe. As long as people have had to chop wood, you know. There have been woodcutter's axes. Of course, the first result I got was from Skyrim, and there are some from Breath of the Wild. That's pretty funny. I feel like there's with the things that I'm into and how long I've been into them, specifically action media, right? There's probably an assumption for a lot of my narratives and stuff like that to be action focused, and they're just not 9 times out of 10. There's like two things I've been working with for a while that are technically like action media, but like it is just like so much less a focus than it was when I was younger, for example. Should be flat on the top. It's a little too exaggerated of a shape. I find myself a lot of the time these days like overworking sketches or overthinking them. The faster that I can get something out, the better it's probably gonna feel. You know what I mean? Don't take that out of context. I don't know what you'd do with it, but don't. Um, it's and I've said it before. That's one reason that the 30-minute animations worked so well for so long, and I might get back to them at some point when I'm not so fucking booked up. But like booked up and burnt out. But like if I can find a way to circumvent or circumnavigate my overthinking, I can do so much. It's just getting to that point. It's like he's like, oh, but hey, before you do that, why don't you think about this? I'm like, oh fuck, that's a great idea, and then I just fall down a rabbit hole. When it's like, I'm just like, I have a thought, I'm inspired. If I sit down immediately after that, I can get something. It's good. Or if I put it out of my hands. That's one reason that I gravitate towards so many challenges and things like that is the fact that it takes an element of overthought. It takes another hurdle of overthought out of it for me. Starting ends up being really difficult because I end up putting blockades in between myself and the idea, and it's just like so. The more I can do to circumvent that, the more productive I am. It's tough sometimes, man. It's really weird how like and I'm sure that I'm not alone in this. It's really weird how your biggest obstacle 9 times out of 10 can be yourself if you really think about it. Like if you search and you're like What needs to change in order for this to happen? It's like, oh, it's my actions or lack thereof. There's like a whole thing on Sakurai's Masahiro Sakurai's YouTube channel, which by the way is really freaking high quality stuff. Um, where he's just literally like yelling at you the entire time. Just do it. Stop thinking about it. Whatever you have to do it. There's no excuse. Just do it, right? And it's really nice. I'm like, oh fuck, oh shit, I'm sorry, Sakurai. I will. I should just have that on hand sometimes. Just keep it loaded on one of my tabs, and whenever I'm like, it would only work a couple of times because that's how attention issues work. They're very adaptable. They will contort into whatever shape is necessary to get you to do as little as possible, at least in my case. But it's like, I should just have that. Do it. Stop waiting. Okay, sorry, Sakurai. I'll get right on it. A little bit of rust. Rust. I don't want it to look like caveman shit. I want it to look just like an out of place human implement in the middle of a very surreal world. That's the goal. It's just exactly what you would expect a woodcutter's axe to look like. This is nice. I like character design. It's my favorite. It's my favorite part of art next to actually animating. I love it so much. It's fantastic. It's just like there's a lot where it's like, at least in my case, I find myself not doing a lot of things because I didn't know it was like an option, right? The second that you realize how, like, once you get to a certain level of art, it's like, oh, I can literally, like, you know what I mean? Like, even before, fuck that. No, before you get to a certain level of art, even, you could be like, oh, there's literally, I can just draw anything. You know what I mean? Whatever comes to mind. Drawing it well is what takes time, but like before you even get there, you could just be like, yeah, dude, I had this idea. I'm gonna fucking draw it. Aina Moorte, the entire Blacking crew is an incredible inspiration. Honestly, one of the best places to be, like ever. You're an angel. You're little angel Moorte. Much love, my dude. I'm very privileged. Um, I a lot of the people, if not all the people there, for the most part, are people I actively invited, and I was like, damn, I got good taste. um, I have a feeling that it's going to continue to blossom with the same energy. And if that is the case, I will be over the moon because we got a really, really good thing going on so far. It turns out you've got some fair amount of diggity. No diggity, all diggity. You have no dignity. I love Dudley. Such a good character. Even though I on the topic of fighting games, I seem to have a knack for picking for gravitating towards characters that are always the least relevant to the plot, and it's starting to piss me off. Like fucking Dudley, never relevant to the main plot, and that's fine. But like Jam from Guilty Gear, never relevant to the main plot. They're always doing some silly shit that is completely. It feels like they're like absolutely irrelevant at all times. And I'm just like, no, what is up with this? Okay, nice. There it is. That's a woodcutter's axe. Um, I'm gonna add a little bit of less saturated brown here. It's a little bit lighter. Let's kind of convey wood a little bit, using a different mixture of browns and grays, just to give it a little bit more texture, a little bit more like, feel. That's pretty good. It's decent. Let's do this real quick, and boom. And I might put a little bit of rust. Just a smidge, which I'm going to use this color for. I don't want to texture it too hard. I'm actually going to put this on a separate layer. I don't want to texture it too hard because I'm going to be animating it a lot. So even if it's just for like one section, it's still just kind of like I don't want to go too overboard with the details. But a little texture goes a long way. So here we go. Maybe I will put some shadow. Yeah. Yeah, just to unify it with his appearance a little bit. Maybe add a little bit of severity to it, you know what I mean? A little bit of weight, a little bit of chutzpah. This I'm just going to, I'm going to try out just adding a darker, deeper gray to this. I'm calling that a day. I think the rust actually flattens it. All right, there we go. It's a little better. Like that. Yeah, it looks pretty strong. Looks a little bit more menacing now. He's not the antagonist, by the way, in so many terms. Um, I think I have a habit of drawing characters in a specific macabre way, or gravitating towards macabre designs in a way that has people assume like, oh, he's a supervillain. I'm like, no, stop. It's my boy. He just looks weird. Okay, it's fine. Okay, now for realsy reals, I'm gonna do one more sketch of him. Now that I got his axe, I'm gonna draw him holding it also for scale, because right now it's just an axe in the void. It could be any size. I want to make sure it reads as like this is like the proper size. Got his axe being held, because axes aren't super big, you know. So this is like it's like a hand axe, but has a space for two hands. One thing that I noticed a lot in Skyrim is the willingness to make things like more realistically proportioned. Oh shit, you're right, Kenjamin. You just do the opposite of the Kirby conundrum. It's like little guys that need a hug, a huge club. Yeah. For those who are not aware, I have accidentally slash purposefully coined the phrase the Kirby conundrum that is becoming more and more uh, a staple of the Lucid community. Lucid is the first Celesteoidvania. No, my buddy Eric Manly Hands Manahan himself of Matte Black Studio is making a sick fucking game. It looks amazing. And I did uh, the vast majority, almost all of the assets for the Kickstarter page, the visual assets. Oh, you said hug, not huge. Oh, you're right. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just used to it. Little guys that need a hug club. Yes, the club for little guys that need a hug. I see. I see. Thank you. Thank you for correcting my wrongs. Amazing. Thank you. But yeah, Kirby Conundrum it's a game with a cute aesthetic. Or you want an enemy to be cute, but then you have to murder them because it's an action game. But you need them to be cute, but then you have to murder them. So it's a conundrum, often found in Kirby. It's the Kirby conundrum. So there you have it. Spread the word. Spread the word and know that I sent you. I'm sorry to have doubted you, Kenjamin. I'm sorry for my very reasonable doubt. Alright, let's do this. Always do one set of layers for his body and one for his face because I usually end up scooting them around after the fact. And I want to anticipate a little, you know? I'm going to scoot this down a smidge. As you can see, if I'm going to be doing this, you're going to look at my fucking 5-head for a while. Might as well get a better view of it. Okay, I want to draw I'm holding the axe. Do I have space? Just a neck that ends. I've been doing a lot more walking recently. It's been so good for me. No longer just subsuming in my own little hovel. Subsuming in my own muck and lack of vitamin D. It's no good, man. I think the collarbone and that little area, like where the neck sits in at the top of this cage, is one of my favorite parts of the human body. Something about it, I don't know, structurally, how much expression can be found there. One thing I really like animating is neck muscles. And you'll see it in a couple of my my smaller works that are actually out there, which are very few and far between because, again, infinite good ideas never finish a goddamn thing. And I'm also really precious with a lot of things that I do, so, you know, all or nothing. I'm either making a bunch of one thing or I'm doing absolutely nothing. And I have to like run it by the bureaucracy of my mind. Hey, is this enough of a thing for you? No. Oh, okay, cool. Guess I won't do shit. It's terrible. But but yeah, I really like animating neck muscles. Caveat's a good example. Um, I had this idea. Um, I was doing 30-minute animations for a while, and then my wife first said, "Why don't you like make it into a long form thing? Just spend like a certain amount of time a day or do something long form." And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I'm like good enough to do it." And then someone else on the internet suggested the same thing, and I was like, "Okay, maybe I can do it." And she's like, "You're an asshole." And I'm like, "You're absolutely right. I'm just a conventional like however much I disown my masculinity, I'm still I'm still raised as one, and as such, I have douchebag behaviors where I don't listen to my wife first time around. Has to be told by someone else the second time. I've gotten so much better at that, but she was like, "You need to fucking stop doing this. This is just real douchebag hours." I'm like, "You're so right." So hopefully I will learn. But yeah, don't do that, guys. By the way, uh, you listen to your wife. She especially if she's like always right. You know, what I mean, if you're like you look back and you're like think about all the times like, oh yeah, yeah, that list is probably going to be pretty long. You should probably listen. Anyway, um, like I had this idea, like so when I actually listened to my wife, I started this thing, which is one of the coolest things that I made, and then I stopped. So the idea was basically, um, you can actually see it on my Instagram. Hold on a second. It's in my stories that are archived under caveat, um, mentioned as an asterisk, right? It wasn't as it was that was the only label for it for a while. And essentially, what I did was every single day for months, I think, I did whatever I could do within an hour, animated something completely, and I posted it, and then I posted it to my story, and then I saved that as a highlight. And what I was doing was essentially making a full scale animated thing, right? Movie, episode, whatever you want to call it, 1 hour every day at a time. And there's a Roman numeral for how what each scene was, what I managed to do. So the character design was really simple, basically mannequin people, just with different things on their faces. And it was really macabre. But there's a couple little moments in there. It was very surreal, kind of like somewhere between Batman the Animated Series and uh, somewhere between Batman and the Animated Series and Fantastic Planet, if you've ever seen it. It's a weird French 70s animated film. Um, but I was doing it for a while, and it was really fucking cool. And like the three people that were watching it were like super into it. They were like, "Whoa, this is so interesting. This is so cool." And they're spreading the word as much as they could, but it didn't have any audio because it couldn't, right? I couldn't, some of these, like, the concept was interesting, but it was conceptually flawed as well. The concept was conceptually flawed. The concept was flawed because animation takes forever. Sometimes something done in an hour is like one small rotation, one small rotation, one step taken, that kind of thing, right? So some of them took off, but because of the way that it works, that Instagram works, they really want self-contained short form content, but it has to have content that is like, you know, complete in some way, even if it's just one person talking through their phone. It's like it was a good idea, but it could have been implemented better, I would say. But either way, um, I was proud of what I did. It just got to the point where it was becoming work, and nobody was seeing it, and it was just getting to the point where I was like, what am I even here for? And then the straw that broke the camel's back was like there was this shot that I would have had to go really hard for, and I was like, I just don't fucking have it anymore. Been doing this for months. Nobody's here. It gets to you after a while. It really does. It's just, it wears you down a little bit. And I know that might sound entitled to be like, why isn't anyone here? Sometimes I think about this dude who is playing this like honking saxophone version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which is my late grandma's favorite song, by the way, so I have a little specific soft spot for it. But he's playing the song over and over and over again, and then he stops in the middle of it. He's like, and then he goes, "You guys think I'm doing this for free? Fuck!" He goes back to it. The shit was so funny, but I think about that every single time I get entitled to other people's attention when I'm putting myself out there for something artistic in any capacity, right? Where it's like, in a lot of ways, yeah, you are doing it for free. As unfortunate and unjust as that might seem to someone who's putting their heart into something, even as something as trivial as a honking saxophone version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Like, if he's just doing it for if you're just doing it for money, that's kind of misguided. You should do something else, probably. If you're doing it like To practice, that's one thing, right? That's why I busk. It's like I need a little extra coin and I need to practice my live set. Great reason to busk. Depending on where you are, maybe you'll make some really decent money, but like the expectation or the entitlement shouldn't be there. But like that's what social media engenders in you. It encourages you to ascribe your value as a person, whether it says it explicitly or not. It's really, really, let's put it this way, it's really easy to fall into the trap of ascribing your value as a person or an artist, etc., a musician, whatever, to a number. YouTube does it too, to a certain point, to a very, you know, specific point, right? Like, but social media in general, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that shit, right? It is so easy to attribute your value or contribution to the world at large to however big of a number you can get in terms of likes, in terms of views, yada yada, right? You are sacrificing yourself upon the altar of the grand almighty algorithm. It's a dangerous thing to do. And I've done it. I've done it in multiple capacities, right? And it's very, very discouraging. But also, like, you need to understand that there is no bitterness without entitlement. I've thought about this recently, right? And that's not to say that there's not justifiable entitlement. It's not to say there's not justifiable bitterness. But if you think about it, if you are not expecting something and disappointed from life, from your career, stuff like that, you're not going to have as much of a reason to be bitter. If I'm expecting some, like, say, like, I fall into this trap constantly where it's like I set my expectations so high, I'm like, there's no way this could fail because I'm making it, right? It's this, these sort of the ebb and flow of the artist's ego, where it's like, well, it'll be fine once I finally get my act together and I finally start doing this. I'll be living large, be large and in charge, and I'll finally be a success story as I want to be, right? And then it doesn't work, and you're like, this is fucking bullshit, right? Why isn't this working? I did it. I did what I was supposed to do after waiting so long and procrastinating for so long. Why isn't this working? And that unfulfillment of your entitlement, your expectation, that the promise that you made yourself, ends up making you a little bitter, right? And this cycle repeats itself. Especially, like over and over again, you tell yourself like, well, this time I'm really going to do it. This time I'm going to succeed. And then it doesn't happen the way that you wanted it to because you set your expectations too high, and then you end up disappointed. You end up bitter, right? You set expectations low. You are the person who is in control of your expectations, no one else. You are the only thing that sets that bar, right? So if you spin it differently, some of the most fulfilled I've ever been on social media was when I set my expectations insanely low, and I just said, this is practice. Everything that I'm doing, I set up a structure that I could play in and that I could also improve my craft as an animator. And I was making things consistently, and I had expectations really low. I was like, well, this is just nothing. So like, it doesn't matter if it takes off or not, right? I'm not banking on this entirely, right? I have a little thing, a little hit to keep me going, even if one person likes it, because this is just practice. And then some things really, really ended up igniting on social media, and at this point they have like 61,000 views or some shit. Just little things that I didn't think anything of. I was just like, I just did this in like an hour. Boom. It's like, oh fuck. It's because, thank you, Kenjamin, for the retroactive pep talk. It's because I stopped having Thank you. Yes, I'm not. I'm going to continue this and finish it. I stopped having expectations for the result. And see, the difficult thing, right, is once something caught fire, I was like, oh shit, so I'm going to do this again and it'll work. It didn't. You just can't. You can't expect things. You can't, like, do you think Poisson Steve, do you think the guys who made that knew that it was going to be a smash hit sensation across the internet? No. They thought it was a funny little guy. And then everybody else thought it was a funny little guy. You set your expectations low, remove entitlement from the table, and your bitterness quotient will go down. I hope for you. You know what I mean? If you're an artist, if you're going through the same shit that I did before, and from time to time, I'm not going to say that it stops. I'm just going to say that it gets easier to deal with because you know what to expect. You're like, okay, I've been here before. There was this there's this absolute banger of a quote from a game by this indie dev, solo dev named Cosmo D, right? I'm in his Discord. He's a cool dude. Uh, and it was just this random line from an NPC, and I don't know if it was something that he actually heard or something that he came up with, but either way, he was like, someone once told me that life is like a spiral staircase. You keep coming to the same challenges over and over again, but when you do, it's at a higher level. I'm like, did I just get my mind blown by like a random extra in a fucking indie game? Yes, I absolutely did. I think that was a very special quote. I was like, holy shit, that's fucking cool. There we go. Sorry, I was a little bit off kilter and it was already bugging me a little bit, but it got to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. Anyway, like just there's this thing that I've been thinking about recently called golden ticket syndrome that I'm absolutely guilty of. And that's not the established phrase. I'm sure there's a more common turn of phrase to describe this than what I'm about to say. I make shit up because I don't read enough at the end of the day. But I notice things. And one thing I notice myself doing is constantly, every second, being like, this is going to be the thing. This is going to be the golden ticket. This is going to be the final piece in the puzzle. And then they'll all see. And then I'll succeed. And then blah, blah. Profit. You know what I mean? And it convinces you into this vacuum, this sort of black hole of necessary novelty. Arrival fallacy. Thank you, Kenjamin. Learn something new every day. Arrival fallacy. This will be it. Yeah. Thank you. I'll remember that. Probably. Hopefully. Arrival fallacy. Yes. Oh yeah, yeah. Where like, um, but yeah, it's like you're convincing yourself instead of actually putting the work into something that you already had as an idea, that it really hasn't been given the food and water and everything necessary to succeed because you got tripped up on logistics or something got a little too hard for your current skill level, yada, yada, yada. Once I arrive, everything will change. Yeah, there it is. If I call it gold ticket syndrome, arrival fallacy, this will be it. This will be the final thing. Everything ends up like you're procrastinating on something for long enough that when a new shiny object, shiny idea comes along, you're like, ah, good. Now I can do this instead. You know what I mean? It's a multiplicitous situation that you can find yourself in, and I find myself in it constantly. And then what you're doing is you're setting your expectations so astronomically high that they can never be achieved. Gold Ticket is definitely sexier. It has that it factor. I'm good at naming things. What can I say? But yeah, um, there's this. That's a general sensibility, a trap that I find myself being caught in constantly. It's also like in the spirit of arrival fallacy. It's like when you stop doing something, like you haven't done something for long enough that you get this pressure behind you that makes you feel like you have to make everything a big debut or a triumphant return. I don't know if that's part of arrival fallacy in terms of psychology, but like that's what I've noticed myself doing. Don't do it. It's so bad for you as an artist, as a person, to set that expectation. And I'm a dramatic bitch, obviously, right? It's like, but that's what I find myself doing constantly. I don't know if that's part of a arrival fallacy or just, but like everything has to be either a big debut or a triumphant return. And I think it is part of a arrival fallacy because there's always like a then they'll see, then everything will be great. It's just you you're feedback looping in your head all of these expectations. And whether you do it on purpose or not, what you're doing is you're making all of these promises to yourself. And this is every kind of entitlement. Perhaps I didn't use it right. I don't know. Gold ticket syndrome. Um, See, when you make shit up, it's such a fucking white person move for me to do. Where I'm just like, this thing probably already exists, but I just thought of it now, so I'm gonna name it as if it was mine. I'm sorry, guys. I'm an embarrassment, but yeah, you know what I mean. It's like it's it in and of itself is a privileged and entitled move to act as if I invented something just because I came up with it independently. But at the same time, this is just an observation that I'm making on myself, and I'm trying to impart it to you. If you know what it's called in the VODs, and you want to impart that knowledge onto me so that I might learn and better myself, please do. Yeah, Benjamin. Because the problem with arrival fallacy is like all my problems will be solved, but you are still you when you find success, and you still aren't happy, even though you have the thing you want. Oh, okay, got it. So maybe I was the one who jumped the gun. Either way, at the end of the day, it both stem from making yourself an in like making yourself an internal promise, getting yourself entitled to a result, and then becoming disillusioned or disheartened when that result is not exactly what you wanted it to be. What I'm saying is be careful with your expectations and be careful with your not to get entitled. The more humble you are, the less precious you are with something, the less expectations you place on something, the less likely you are to be disappointed. Just be in the moment and make shit that is good to you. If it's not good yet, make it better. That's it, man. It's not easy to do, but it's a process, and you need to be at peace with the fact that everything's going to be a work in progress. Everything's going to move at its own pace, and how much effort you put where is going to impact the final result. Just keep practicing and keep making dope shit. That's all I'm saying. Neck too big necessarily, but forced perspective could be pretty fun here. Yeah, man. I'm saying this from experience because I've fallen into this trap so many goddamn times, and I keep following the same patterns, and I keep falling into the same traps. And I've seen people that are very skilled and very, talented and have been about their work, for long enough and made honestly really good things have an expectation based on either what was described to them by someone else who probably got lucky, right? Maybe they, I've taken a class, an online music class, right? And the part where it actually was teaching me skills panned out great. But the part where you're like, this is the business end of it, I think didn't really make it for me. And, you know, especially in times like this, it's really easy to look back and be like, well, that second half of the program, that's a couple $1,000s that I could have now when I have no money. And like, it's easy to be like, well, maybe it was me that was the problem. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at it and I'm like, the difference in quality between these was pretty huge and kind of fucked up. Felt used. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now. But the point is, like, I've seen really, really skilled people get their hopes kind of dashed to the rocks because they did everything right as far as they knew, set an expectation that was unachievable, and then they had to basically leave the internet for a while to recuperate. It's like, and I think that is deeply encouraged fundamentally by the structures of social media. The fact that it's graded on such a steep curve, the fact that success is so exponential and seemingly random, the fact that the algorithm has its own, you know, setups and intentions, and beyond that, it's just like the zeitgeist, right? It's like people treat the algorithm like a god, and for all intents and purposes, maybe it kind of is. I don't know. But I say all of this to say it's, like, as hard as it is, find a way to circumnavigate getting your hopes up too high. Find a way to make art for the sake of making art or bettering your own craft, and like, it's a frame, like, it's a state of mind situation. And it's really cheap with how different everybody's minds are to say just think differently about it. It's cheap and not necessarily applicable to everybody, but like, it might really help you out to look at it differently in a way that doesn't put so much pressure on you to succeed in something that is so nebulous and out of your control. One metaphor that I used for somebody, we were talking about success on social media when I was doing the 30-minute animations and actually making a little bit of progress on Instagram. Um, and I said a really, really good way to look at it is like skipping stones, right? You can stress out and hyperfixate on what makes the rock the perfect shape to skip as many times as possible. What's the perfect technique to throwing it to get it to really get that spin, stuff like that, right? You could math it out. You can put on a lab coat and some goggles, and you could Jack Skellington that shit. What's this? You know what I mean? Like, you could spend hours stressing about something before you actually throw it. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of factors outside of you and the rock that will determine whether or not it'll skip. There's thousands upon thousands of factors that you have no control over. You know, the wind speed, the ocean, the position of the moon. Like, did you lift something heavy that week? You know what I mean? It's like, technically these are things that you could keep track of, but at the end of the day, just throw the fucking stone, man. Just fucking throw this. Just throw some rocks. Just throw rocks. And you'll see that it's the act of doing it that you get joy from, not how far it goes. And every once in a while, one stone is going to skip a little bit further than the other, and you'll be like, oh, that was neat. Time to throw another stone. You're not going to be like, fuck, oh my god, I wasn't paying attention. What was so special about that stone? Because it's probably not going to skip the same anyway. You're probably not going to throw it with exactly the same tension in your arm unless you do it for a living. And if you do it for a living, you better hope you can throw some fucking stones. But at the end of the day, that was what I'm saying. Don't stress about what makes it the perfect stone. Just throw. Just give it a shot. Just keep throwing, and maybe eventually you'll, you'll be satisfied. Maybe eventually it'll something will happen, but either way, just be in that moment of joy and activity and enjoy the moment for what it is. Just throw the stone, man. Just a little bit of what I've picked up from grinding so hard and like looking back and knowing when things actually quote unquote worked for me. I'd say it's probably the best advice I could give. And I hope it helps some of you. The human face moves so much. It moves so fucking much, dude. It's really funny. Angry. Just an angry boy. So wild. I'm gonna add a few more rungles here. My favorite thing, and I know I was just saying that character design is my favorite thing outside of like active, downright animation, but like expressiveness, expressions, and everything like that. I've always been fascinated by them because I've always had a very animated face. It makes you really easy to bully, which so that wasn't great growing up, but also I'm very thankful for it having a rubber face because it has. I spent a lot of time looking in mirrors growing up, still, but like I still do, but like it was all the time when I was a kid, just kind of studying what the hell my face can do and how. And I think that informed a lot of my art. The amount of time that I spent studying expressions. I just love it. It's very fulfilling to me. And it's funny because a lot of my art ends up having kind of like over the top expressions. And some people might be like, well, that's not realistic. It's like, but that's like what my face does, man. I don't know what to tell you. Definitely doesn't have teeth, which is a little weird, I guess. Speaking of no teeth, did you notice? Have you noticed that Bob's Burger, have you noticed the characters in Bob's Burgers do not have teeth? The second that I noticed it, I couldn't unnotice it. So I'm sorry, but also you're welcome. It's very funny. You just like wait a fucking second, and then you look, and they're nowhere. There are no teeth. Yeah, yeah. I was looking at it. I was like, something's different here. So I was looking at it from like an animator's perspective, and I was like, what's different, right? There's a comic with that though, huh? Yeah. The second that you notice it, you're like, oh shit, wait a minute. How do y'all eat these burgers with no teeth? There's this really cool shop in the sort of Fourth Street area of Berkeley that we used to visit every once in a while. It's called Castle in the Air, and it had all of these like beautiful Venetian like style masks. They were all super cool and super disturbing, and I've always had this fascination with masks, probably from being a little strange and kind of occasionally feeling like I was existing among humans. You know what I mean? On the outside looking in, just constantly a little bit out of place. But Castle in the Air had a bunch of like really cool books, artisan goods, amazing pens and stuff like that. If it's still around, which I don't know if it is, and you're ever in like the Berkeley area, look it up. It's a cool spot. It's just unlike any other place like store that I've been in a very, very long time. It closed in 20. Oh, it was 2020. Of course, it closed right during the beginning of the pandemic. It does not seem like the kind of place that would survive that because it needs something about going there, and you need to go there in person. Damn. It was a beautiful spot. People there were really cool too. A lot of stuff all over the place just could not hang through the pandemic. Haven't been to San Francisco proper, like the city in a very long time. I have no idea what's still there. Used to go there all the time. That was good stuff. I'd kill for one of them yuzu cake slices from Yakiniku. Place was great. I'm so food motivated. Every single place that I talk about, I'm just like, ooh, I'd love to eat there. I'm like, damn. In my heart, I'm fat. Probably literally given cholesterol levels, but the heart wants what it wants. What my heart wants is a lot of food. Ah, so mild. I like doing the forehead vein right down, not like the anime, although I do find that funny as a concept. Um, this one right here, but I thought just the idea of seeing his like this one right here, right? I thought the idea of a vein in the mask is just too gross. There we go. I should be able to finish this and add the colors in the next 10 minutes, so that's perfect. I'm gonna need 2 layers. Yeah, it's looking like a proper design sheet, huh? I'm probably gonna do Smokestack, the Hollowed Lands characters, which is the series that what I'm calling the series that Smokestack belongs to. I'm probably gonna do that and a couple of my more cutesy, cartoony characters um, for Art Fight. That's what I'm gonna put up whatever team I end up on. It's really funny because when that "I have two sides" thing was going around, I was like, this was literally, there's never been anyone who it was made for more than me. I might actually have to leave early because I'm rapidly having to use the restroom more and more. I can hold it for another 8 minutes. Ah, that's what Smokestack's doing right now. He's like, ah. Does it look like it's coming from like the center of him, but I don't want him to look cross-eyed. Maybe I'll just draw it like fully lit up. Yeah, I think that actually works better. I'll do that with thinking of him kind of like a series of portals feels a lot better. Yeah, it still looks a little like he's cross-eyed. I'm just gonna leave the eyes, maybe white. That's always fun. I think that's pretty effective. Uh, Now I can make these fully opaque. I'm actually going to start with the dark shading, the full black. I might even invert it real quick just so I can. Sometimes I do this. Looks pretty cool, also, not gonna lie. All right, I think I actually genuinely don't have a choice. I gotta call it a smidge early. Too much coffee, I guess. Um, anyway, um, you at least get the start for what I'm about to do with Art Fight. Um, I'll post a link to my. Maybe I'll make an Art Fight specific section in the personal showcase area of the Discord. If you are interested in joining me, this is a place to do it. If you want to follow me, this is the spot to do it. Various spots to do it. You can see the thing that I mentioned on Instagram stories. Check my highlights. And last but not least, if you want to support me and you have the means to do so, now is a great time because I am in pretty dire straits financially. Even with the commissions I'm about to wrap up, I'm still pretty pretty rough right now. Working artist doesn't work very well, but damn, it is pretty fulfilling. Anyway, that's a good spot to support me. If you haven't already followed and subscribed on YouTube and all that jazz, I'd really appreciate it. But either way, thank you so much for listening to me yammer and watching me draw one of my characters. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you on Devil May Cry Day Friday for some more DMC3, probably. All right, much love, y'all, and I'll see you around, okay? Bye!